Hey, here's a question. Anybody remember what we did last week and what did we talk about? What? Inbox. Anything else? Is that my child? Hey, good to see you. Oh, she's waving. See, that's where she gets that. When I do this on stage, that's all she does all day long. Just holds her hands up like she got a question. Last week, we talked about the things that you have coming into your life. I have decided this week that there are two things. Is John Mark here? John Mark, did he show up? Two things. John Mark's a doctor. That's why I'm asking that question. I don't need one right now, but, for the illustration. Two things that your doctor does not want to hear you say when you go in his office. One, Doc, I've decided I'm never putting anything else into my body. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not eating anything. I'm not drinking anything. I am done putting things into my body. What do you think your doctor would tell you at that point? Been good knowing you. Can I get your copay before you leave? That's what the doctor would say. He's like, can you make sure you pay up all your insurance? The next thing he does not want to hear, and this might even be worse, is, Doc, I've decided I'm never letting anything else out of my body. Yeah, so would it be worse to not eat at all or to eat and not let anything out? I'm thinking, For about a day, it'd probably be better to just eat. After that, it'd get kind of crazy. Your doctor doesn't want to hear any part of that. Why is that? Because for your body to work, you have to take things in and you have to let things out. Is this like disturbing you guys? Is this a gross enough concept yet, Mick? We're talking about letting things out. Tonight, the talk tonight is about what you allow out of your life. We're not going to discuss what you allow out of your body, because I don't care. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you do what you need to do your thing, whatever, I'm out. But what do you allow out of your life? Because the things that you take in are critical to how you live. We talked about that last week. We're talking technology, obviously, and we got a few things up here, huge laptops and all this kind of stuff. All the things that come into your life through your inbox, through your mail system, through all kinds of spam, all kinds of different things, through movies, videos that you watch, the things that come into your life affect the way you live if you're trying to live for Christ. Y'all agree with that? All right, cool. What I want you to understand tonight is God has a standard for the things that come out of your life as well. Just the same way your body, in order to function, has to bring things in and take things out. Just all natural kind of processes there. In your spiritual life, you bring things in to affect who you are and how you live, and then in that process, you allow things to come out of you. And I want to walk through a couple of the ways that just technology-wise, how do things come out of you? First of all, anybody in here just, you don't do email at all? Like, I've talked to one person tonight, I think. She told me over here in the corner, she said, no, I'm just not into it. Y'all do. Pam, you're not an emailer. Trolene, you're not an emailer. Steve, you don't email? That's why your wife keeps responding like, Steve said this. Because Steve can't type, and he doesn't do email. Do what? Yeah, that's why you got a phone. You're so 80s. Pam, do you have a bag phone? Do you have a bag phone? Your cell phone, is it in a big bag? Anybody on this side of the room ever seen a bag phone? Okay, good. Appreciate that. You're like, bag phone? What the heck? I brought mine home in a sack. I guess that's a bag phone. I don't know. Bunch of freaks. What are they talking about? Okay. Trust me, I've lost what I'm talking about. The email system, you have an inbox, and then you have an outbox. And that keeps record of everything you send to everyone. There are certain parts of the things in my email system that I delete all the time. You send me stuff, and I mean, not you, but other people send me stuff that I delete. I never delete my outbox because when it comes down to it, the most important thing about our conversation, if something came up that someone had a big issue with, I don't really care what you said. I just want to make sure I didn't say the wrong thing. True? My concern is, hey, they send me a bunch of stuff. That's all fine and dandy, but what did I say? Because if I get in trouble, it's not going to be because of what you said. It's going to be because of how I responded to that. My outbox is critical for me to know what I've done, how I've responded to people, and what I have said to you. In your life, you have an outbox. And part of who you are, after you take all this stuff in, is your response to that, things are going out. You with me? You follow me? Everybody's into the outbox system now, even you non-emailer. Steve, you into the outbox? He don't care. He's like, call me later, tell me what I'm supposed to do or not do or whatever. Here's another way you put stuff out. You forward things. Just admit it. How many of you are the forwarders? There's a few of you that forward everything in the world. Let me just explain something to you. Cut that out. When you forward that email that said, if you love Jesus, you will send this to 20 people. If you do not send this to 20 people, you do not love Jesus. At that point, I pray, Jesus, don't ever let them send me anything else. Delete. That's what I do. Because that whole thing, here's one of my favorites. If you don't forward this, 7 kittens will die. Let me tell you something from my heart. If there is a chance, any chance in the world of there being an email that you can send to me and my response can get rid of 7 kittens, send me 4 of them. Because if I did all of that, and I understand, they're like, oh, I can't believe he just said that. Here's the deal. I could delete 4 of those and still have cats running around my neighborhood that I don't want. Okay? I could kill 40 of them and have like 3 the next day in my garage going, hey, feed me. No sending forwards. Here's the deal about a forward, though. I want you to understand this. We're talking about what comes out of your life. Just because you forward it from someone else, just because it doesn't start with you, doesn't make you responsible for it. Does that make sense? I got an email the other day from a guy that said Mars is coming within like, I don't know, 1.5 miles from Earth. And I'm supposed to go out and look for it because there's going to be 2 moons that day. Anybody get that one? Yeah. And then like 20 minutes later, I got an apology. I apologized for sending that out. It was wrong information. Well, yeah. That's the whole point. That's what forwards usually are. But you send them out because, hey, I'm just forwarding this. And then somebody calls you and says, hey, Mars is not really going to sit down on Earth next week so we can stare at it. And then they have to go, oh, I'm sorry. Well, you know what? It wasn't really me. I just forwarded it from somebody else. The things that you forward out of your life are still your responsibility. Everything that comes out of you is your responsibility. Now, you poor people that forward stuff, don't go home all offended. I wasn't trying to offend most of you. Just some of you. I got that. How about MySpace? Who got a MySpace page? I don't. I tried it one time, and I was getting friends from places I had never heard of. I'm like, no, thank you. James Wisner, our youth minister, used to be our youth minister, one time stood up in front of his youth ministry, these all teenagers, and said to them, you know what, guys? I have been on some of your MySpace pages today, and I'm very disappointed with what I saw. The next day, he went back to the same exact MySpace pages, and they were all blocked. He couldn't get on them anymore. So he should have used that in some other way, but he says one time, I've seen your MySpace page, and all of a sudden, he's not a friend anymore. I want you to understand something. In this MySpace stuff, you can look at it. It's amazing stuff that I know all of y'all are doing like the right thing with MySpace and putting out, pictures of yourself and how cool life is and all this stuff, but you can put anything on this thing. And when you begin to look at what people are putting out from their lives, in no way does it honor God in any way, shape, or form. It just doesn't. And they put it out there because they think, hey, it's just MySpace. Not a big deal. And then what you do is you strategically block people that are going to keep you accountable to it. You got teenagers all over the world with MySpace pages that their parents can't get to. And one of the biggest issues in our world today is parents that don't try to get to them. And they think, hey, my kid's got a MySpace page. I'm sure that's all okay. And they don't do what I do and would go in there and rip the computer out of the wall and throw it out the window and say, now I'm going to need your password because I'm going to know what's coming out of my child's life. But you know what? In your world, MySpace is just another way of the way you live your life out in front of people. Just another one of the things of how you put things out in your life. Some of you have funky ringtones on your phone. Who has a ringtone that you think kind of fits who you are? You put it on there because of who you are. Gina, what's your ringtone? Living on a prayer. You should hear it around the church office when it goes off. Some of you have ringtones. We have all kinds of things in our lives that tell people who we are. We put out messages all the time. And what you have to understand is you're putting out a message wherever you are, because here's the thing that really got this whole message, brought it together. When you do your email and you set up your email, you set up a signature. Most of you know how to do that, and you've got a signature where you can type your email and you can hit send, and your email goes and it puts your signature at the bottom of that page. Mine says Jared Roberts, something about who I am, cell phone, whatever. It's got my signature that goes out instantly. I don't sign my name anymore. It just goes out, whether I think about it or not. And when I began thinking about this talk tonight, and all that means is that, you know, in your life, no matter where you are, no matter what you do, you are putting out your signature. When you go to a restaurant and you treat the waiter like trash because he accidentally forgot to bring you tea when you needed it, and you let him know that he's the worst thing that ever happened. I had somebody tell me the other day they used to work at Ryan's a long time ago. And one Sunday afternoon, somebody that went to a church in town came to eat at their deal, and this person brought them the wrong kind of tea, sweet or unsweet, I don't know which one it was, and they actually took that cup of tea and poured it in her pocket. We've talked about it before, man. If you're a waiter or a waitress, the last thing in the world you want to go wait on is a group of people that call themselves Christians. Because those people that have become Christians have decided we all deserve stuff. And we all think, hey, man, I'm a great guy. I should get my Diet Coke earlier than everybody else, and if I don't, I'm ticked. You know what? When you leave a restaurant, whether you are great, whether you tip well, whether you tip like stingy whoever you are, you leave your signature. Every conversation you ever have, you leave your signature. Every time you go meet somebody new, every clothing store you go into the mall, you leave your signature. When you're at the cable office, how many people just love to go to the cable office? You just love being down. Anybody work there? How about the post office? How about a place I went this weekend, and I asked Tiffany if I could just go hang out here. It's in my dream place. It's a motorcycle place here in town because I don't have any money and I'd like to lust over motorcycles. And I went to this one place and just hung out for about 30 minutes, and one person spoke to me the whole time. Why? Because I didn't have enough money to buy a motorcycle. And they knew that. So I'm kind of moseying around and doing stuff. I wanted to like drop one and see if they'd speak to me then. But they don't even talk to you. Understand every place you go, the way you treat people, the way you talk to people, the way you talk about anything and everything, you leave your signature. That's what's coming out of your life. When you walk away from doing business with someone, what do they think about you? When you walk away, when you are at your workplace and someone comes and gets something from you and they leave, what do they think about you? That is the signature that you've left them today. All of these ways that we've talked about, using technology for the examples, all of these things are ways that things are coming out of your life. And the real question now is, why does that matter? Why do we deal with stuff like that? Here's one way it matters, because here's the deal. Once you give your life to Jesus Christ, He expects you to live up to a certain standard. And I understand tonight, we do XL for people to come in here that have never met Jesus before. And you come in here as hey, I'm checking this thing out. People are bringing you saying, hey, you need to come to this place. It's not like normal. It's like this and that. And they do things differently. And you'll hear about Jesus. And you're thinking, fine, I've never really gotten into the Jesus thing, so I'll go with you. Hang out a little bit and see what's going on. So you're walking through this process, and you've not given your life to Jesus Christ yet. I want you to hear, you'll never hear this from anybody else, but I want you to hear me. Once you give your life to Christ, because that's our goal for you, God calls you to a standard of things that you are supposed to allow to come out of your life. Right now, I think the things that I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes are good ideas for you. But I want you to know that it's when you give your life to Jesus Christ, the standard is raised. The bar is raised at that point. Because Jesus says, when I come into your life and start living out through you, there are certain things that are supposed to come out of your life. And certain things are not. And I want you to see some of those things. Because why is that important? 1 Timothy 4:16 says, keep a close watch on how you live and your teaching. Stay true to what is right for the sake of your own salvation and the salvation of those who hear you. Be careful how you live. Because people's salvation, their relationship with Jesus Christ, this is as a believer. You have given your life to Christ tonight. God has raised the standard to this point. Be careful how you live because your life may affect someone else's salvation. Many of you are here tonight, and it's a miracle that you're here because somebody in the past that called themselves a Christian treated you like trash, and you swore, I will never go hear anybody talk about Jesus again because of that person's life. And you know what? If you'd never come here tonight, that person's life, how they lived, would have affected your salvation. Scripture clearly says you don't want that to happen if you've given your life to Christ. Matthew 5:13 and 14 says, you are the salt of the earth, but what good is salt if it loses its flavor? Can you make it salty again? It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. The basic part of that verse to me is that you are salt of the earth. As a believer, when you give your life to Christ, you are called to make this earth better. Because we all know when you get that bucket of French fries from McDonald's, if they forgot to salt them, you're driving back through. You're like 7 miles down the road, you take your first one, oh, come on, you turning the car around, throwing them in the window, leaving your signature. Salt these, people. You know. But as a believer, your job is to make the world better. Even for people that don't know Jesus. That's your job. To be the salt of this earth. 3 checkpoints that I want you to look at for everything coming out of your life. 3 things I want you to do. Number 1, it has to be the truth. It has to be the truth. Mickey sent me a website. Is that Snopes.com? Do you have any idea? www.snopes.com. I think it's up there. Here's what that website is. Some of you have seen it before. I've seen it as urbanlegends.com. This website basically tells you which one of the stories that get forwarded to you is a lie and which one's a truth. So some of you need to write this down, and when the Mars thing hits, that Mars is going to come like visit you at your restaurant next week, and then you have to wonder, is that the truth or not? You should go to this website because I found it on there today, the Mars thing. It's like their top story right now. Telling us how, hey, years ago it did come close, it's not coming close anytime. I mean, it gives us a whole story. But it tells you things on this website that are not the truth. It gives you one of their top stories is still the whole Microsoft AOL giveaway. Trust me, he's not going to send you any money. He's not going to do it. Some of you have gotten that deal, hey, if you forward this to 1 billion people, you're going to get $100. And you're like, who do I know? How many people will that take for me to get to 1 billion? And you're shooting for this stuff, and they tell you at this website, they're like, hey guys, it's a lie. What are some other things I found out on there? Because there's some, here's the deal. You've heard the story that somebody got stabbed with a syringe in a ball pit at McDonald's? You've heard that one? Yeah, they died. That's not true. Okay, so all of you that have kept your kids out of McDonald's for like 6 years now, let them go back and play in the balls. I mean, come on. Because here's the deal. You're reading this stuff. It's not the truth. I found out Coca-Cola used to actually contain cocaine. That's actually true. Diet Coke still does. One of the big rumors, and this one's got me for years, that Coke is owned by the Mormons, by the Mormon religion. It's not Pepsi either. See, I've been telling people for years that the Mormon religion owns Pepsi, and they don't. But I found that out at Snopes.com. You people have been putting out lies and lies for years. Here's one that, this is great. I heard this when I was like 10. as a rumor. This is just personal stuff here. A woman became pregnant because she was shot, and the bullet went through a man and into her. Go ahead and admit, how many of you have ever heard the story? Yep, I see the story. I see the hands going up. You've heard the story. It's in a war, like Civil War days or something like that, and she's standing out on her front porch, and they shoot this guy, and it goes through him and into her. 9 months later, she has a baby by a man she's never been within 100 feet of. Oh. But check this out. Here's one. This is actually serious stuff. Dropped food remains germ-free if picked up within 5 seconds. They say that that's not true. 3 seconds? I give it a minute and a half, bro. I mean, I'll be real honest with you. It all depends on what the food is, doesn't it, Mick? Like if it's a donut, it's free all day. If it's good enough, it's like if you dropped it yesterday, it's clean. It don't matter. It all depends on how hungry the big boy is. All right. The things coming out of your life have to be the truth. Let me read some scripture because Jason's giving me time to quit signs and I ain't even close. So Proverbs 12:22 says, the Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in those who tell the truth. 1 John 3:18 and 19 says, dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. Let us show the truth by our actions. Our actions will show that we belong to the truth so that we will be confident when we stand before God. How do you test the things coming out of your life? Make sure that they are all true. And I hope that you don't have to go to Snopes.com to find out if the things coming out of you are true. You can go to God's Word because He makes it clear. If you want to know how to live your life, live it according to my Word. Go to it, test the things coming out of your life, and make sure they are the truth when they're coming out. Second thing is this, it has to build others up and not tear them down. The things coming out of your life, if you've given your life to Christ, He wants the things coming out of your life to build people up, not tear people down. It says in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. I won't even ask the question of, hey, if anybody in here has ever said something to you that hurt your feelings or anything like that, because I don't want any hands going up for that. Because everybody's going to go, hey, Jared offended me one time, and I don't even want to hear it today. But the truth is, the things in your life that come out of you to the world should build up the people around you. And the majority of things coming out of people in this world are tearing down everyone they can tear down. Why do you do that? Most of the people that tear other people down, it's because of a self-esteem problem where you're trying to build yourself up. And if everybody else can be torn down, then I'm higher. At the end of the day, I'm above everyone because I've ripped them all apart. God says everything coming out of your life, everything coming out of your mouth, everything coming out of your heart should lift others up instead of tearing them down. The book of James talks about taming the tongue. It says in James 3:2, indeed, we all make many mistakes. For if we could control our tongues, we would be perfect and could also control ourselves in every other way. I cannot tell you the number of times that statements come out of my mouth, and at the end of that statement, I thought, woo, really shouldn't have said that. Y'all ever had that time? Like, I'll have one of those at least before I get home. I can tell you that right now. It's like, dang, one more thing. But God says, control the things that come out of your mouth so that everything that you say is encouraging to others instead of tearing others down. Third thing is this, as you check your life, it has to honor God. Everything in your life should honor the God that you've given your life to. 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. Everything that comes out of you should be about Him. And there are so many times where the enemy attacks us and gets us thinking about self and self and self and the me kind of deal. And what we do is we're going to put out whatever we have to put out to bring attention to ourselves. And what God says to us is, guys, if you want to live for me, you need to check everything that comes out of you and make sure it glorifies me instead of yourself. That's the third thing. Why? Because your overall goal In everything that you do, everything that comes out of you, your goal is this. 1 Corinthians 11:1. In everything, set them an example by doing what is good. Everything that you do, you should set an example for the people around you by doing what God has called you to do. So I want you to understand, if you're in this room tonight and you've decided, you know what, I'm not ready for this whole Christian thing yet, and I'm okay with that right now, we're okay with that. That's why we do this. So we can build relationships with you and help you find Jesus one day. But if you would say to me tonight, I've already given my life to Christ and I'm a believer, then God's calling you to step up what comes out of your life. And it's not okay just to forward stuff on. It's not okay just to send things out and never think about it. God calls you to speak the truth, live the truth, and be an example to the people around you. That's his challenge for us tonight.